Hi, I'm back in the kitchen today and I'm going to be making Southwestern Bean Dip. And it's a recipe that I got years and years ago from my sister, and she and I both would make it for our girls when they were little. And we would actually make it for a meal. And the ingredients are really simple and it's a really cheap dish. And I use canned beans, refried beans, and I'm just showing you two different sizes. If you wanted to make this for a crowd, you could get this large 2-pound can. Today I'm going to be using this 1-pound can. And you mix it up with some cooked ground beef or turkey. Today I'm going to use some organic turkey and cheese and salsa. And those are your main ingredients. And then you have your bean dip. I like to jazz it up a little bit with some fresh herbs, and I have some cilantro, a jalapeno, some garlic, onion, I'm using a sweet onion today, and some limes. So let's get started. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to chop up half of this sweet onion. It's pretty large, so I'm only going to use half of it. And I'm going to saute it. I have my Dutch oven here. And I'm going to heat up my oil, and I'm going to use avocado oil today. My friend Sarah told me about cooking with avocado oil. I hadn't even thought of it, and it has a high heat tolerance up to 500 degrees, so it's really great for cooking, and I figured with Mexican food especially, why not? And I'm going to use quite a bit because the turkey is not very fatty. And I may end up having to add more. So I'm just kind of coating the bottom of my Dutch oven. And I'm going to turn that on about medium heat while I chop my onion. And I'll be the first to say that I'm no expert when it comes to chopping an onion, but this is how I like to do it. I just like to kind of leave the bottom intact. I'm going to set that aside for another time. Going to peel it. Try to save as much of it as I can. So I just slice it like that, and I'll repeat it with this one. Try not to cut myself, and then just chop it down like so. And I'll keep chopping and meet you back at the stove. My onions are chopped. My oil is hot. And I do like to season every time I put something in the pot, so I'm just going to add a little salt and pepper. Or a lot of pepper. And I'm just going to cook those until they get a little translucent. And then I'll add my garlic, so I'll chop up my garlic now. I'm going to use 2 cloves of garlic today. These are pretty big, so I think that should be plenty. And again, I'm no expert on chopping vegetables, but this is how I like to do my garlic. I just smush it like so. Take the little hard tip off. And then the peel comes right off. This one's starting to turn into a second garlic plant. Repeat with my other one. Smush it and peel it. chop those off. You can tell I've had my garlic in my fridge. I've actually haven't had it that long, so I'm surprised that it's doing that, but that's okay. Still delicious. And then I'm just gonna slice it up. And I kind of leave it in pretty large slices like this. You can dice it if you prefer. And I'll check on my onions. Okay, I think that looks good. I'm going to throw my garlic in there. And I'm just going to cook that for probably, I don't know, like a minute. I'm going to use a half of this jalapeno today, and I'm just going to, kind of like I did with the onion, just slice it in half, set that aside to save it, and I do not want these seeds in there, so I'm going to remove the seeds. So it'll be a little too spicy. And I'm just going to slice it up. And the pepper I am going to dice. Well, I guess you could call it mincing is what I'm doing. And I'm going to remember to wash my hands and not touch my face right after I chop this. Okay, now I'm ready to add that to the pot. In they go. Add some nice color. And I do not need to add any salt and pepper at this point because I already added it to the onions. Okay, I'm going to wash my hands and then we will get the ground turkey ready. Just going to move my vegetables kind of to the side. Trying to keep this as simple as possible. And just cook it all in one pot all at the same time. I've got my ground turkey that I've cut half of what I had. And I'm just going to chop it up. And I like to season up my turkey quite a bit because it really doesn't have much flavor. And I'm not going to move it around too much, and so it'll brown nicely. I'm going to do salt and pepper, and I wanted to show you my little salt and pepper box, I guess you call it. I just love it so much. It's just so easy to use to season while you're cooking. This is my pepper. And I'm actually going to add, even though we have onion in there, I really like to use this granulated onion. Quite a bit. And I like this Montreal steak seasoning. Kind of gives it a nice flavor. And yes, it does have salt in it, so it will kind of make your meat pretty salty. So I'm just going to let that cook for just a few minutes and then I'll stir it around. I'm just going to check it and see if it's getting brown underneath. And it is. Looks really nice. Just adds a nice flavor when it browns up like that. My turkey is browned up nicely and has nice color. And I have found that if you try to cook your ground meat, turkey or beef, and dump in your onions at the same time and cook them at the same time, that you really don't get nice color on your meat. And I think it's because there's so much water in the onions that it kind of steams the meat. So I really like this technique of cooking the onions and garlic first and then adding your beef. So now it's time to add the beans. And again, I'm using 1 pound of refried beans. Just gonna pop it in there. I'm actually gonna turn my ground turkey down to about low. Mix that in. Now I'm going to add my salsa, so I have a little bit more liquid in there, and I'm just using, I like this Southwestern salsa. It's medium heat. It's got corn in it, and I think some beans as well. And I don't measure it, that's probably about 3/4 to 1 cup. And that makes it a lot easier to stir and incorporate everything. The last thing I'm going to add is my cheese, and this is about 1 cup to 1.5 cups. So this will just simmer for really just 2 or 3 minutes to melt the cheese, and then I will plate it up. My cheese is all melted, and I don't know if you can see how nice and gooey that looks. So if I were going to serve this for a crowd, I would definitely just leave it in. I would probably transfer it into a crock pot, make it earlier in the day. Okay, now I'll garnish it up and give it a taste. I like to garnish with a little cilantro. Sometimes I use parsley. I like them equally. Give it a rough little chop. And then a little bit of lime juice. And I'll give it a taste. No double dipping. It's so delicious. I really hope you give this a try. You can eat this dip with chips like I did today. You can put it in tortillas for Taco Tuesday night. You can take it to a potluck. It's a real versatile dish, and I really hope you give it a try. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.